Hi, I'm Sarah of Sarah Wing Intuitive Art, and I will be discussing what a personal myth is, and for some of you, most importantly, what your personal myth is. You can find more of my content and art at sarahwingintuitiveart.com and using the hashtag sarahwingintuitiveart to search on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. All right, so personal myth. When you think of the word myth, what comes to mind? Perhaps you think of a particular god or goddess. Maybe the word myth to you just means false, lie, a disbelief. Maybe it means a belief you hold dear or one you held dear. Well, whatever translation you have in mind, hold that there, but kind of just keep your mind open to what a personal myth could mean to you in this new perspective. So, years ago, the idea of writing my own personal myth was brought to my attention when I went to Explorer College for a weekend on a little road trip. And I was so inspired by a talk that one of the professors was giving that when I came back home, I sat down and with stream of conscious, put pen to paper and wrote my first personal myth. My first personal myth turned out to be a story about a Valkyrie named Hanna. Now, you can search Hanna the Valkyrie and find her story, me reading my personal myth on my YouTube channel. You can also find a video of the art piece that was inspired by this personal myth on my YouTube channel. And one of the reasons that I'm talking about this now is because in more recent months, I made a video of the art piece Hanna, which is a life-size seated sculpture. And when I made this new video, it received so many views that I knew something was pinning, not just for me, but for so many people on some level. And so I wanted to discuss what a personal myth, writing one for yourself, could be helpful with. And if it is something you're called to do, hopefully inspire you to take those next steps of writing. So, personal myth. If you're watching this, maybe you've heard some huge epic tales about a god or a goddess, or just phenomenal stories, these mythic, epic stories, right? These fantastical fantasies. And maybe you've admired some and resonated with some and really enjoyed hearing them over and over. But have you ever thought that you could have your own epic story, epic myth? Now, I mentioned that when I wrote the story, I wrote it stream of conscious. And one reason I did that was it is a method that tends to work for me in different artistic adventures, and just the way I paint, it's downloading. It's just channeling, downloading what's coming through. But also it helps you kind of get out of your ego a little bit and get to a kind of a kinder place and do something a little more from the unconscious, a little more from the underneath of the known stories and the known beliefs. And it lets you write out a tale, write out with a cast of new characters or a different way to view yourself. So stream of consciousness is just letting the content flow, whatever's kind of channeling through, not stopping to correct or judge. In fact, when I was writing my first personal myth, I didn't even necessarily feel super attached to anyone I was writing about. The main Valkyrie character, the young child. I wasn't particularly, beholden to, oh, this person or this Valkyrie, they have to be portrayed this way. They can only do this. There's something very freeing about it where I didn't have this strong attachment to the characters. I just let the story unfold. And I let the cast of characters arise. And I let a crow come in. And it just allowing whatever parts of you that want to be a passenger in this story to come out. Because of this story, like I said, it prompted me into making this piece of artwork. And the artwork that I did make, I mentioned you can see it in multiple places. It was the piece that launched my intuitive artwork. And the technique of getting used to just downloading, putting down whatever color, whatever comes to mind, but then putting whatever on top of it. It started my process of really getting me to let go in some ways and then open up. Like open up my crown chakra in other ways. Open up to my voice. Open up to my voice even if I didn't know that it was my voice coming through. And I mentioned this and the idea of not being rigidly connected to any character I'm writing about, because if you're at all like me, you go through life and there are certain things, certain parts of you that you want to have some control around. You want to protect certain parts of yourself, and you want to protect certain parts of yourself that are living certain beliefs and certain stories until they're ready to let go. And what was so helpful about writing this lovely story was that I didn't feel the need to protect anyone. And I say that because I think we all have part of us that wants to protect our narrator, protect certain beliefs in us, and also protect certain fearless, angelic, incredibly, outstandingly potent and amazing parts of us. It's been years since I wrote my personal myth. And the understanding about myself, if I look back or I look at the art piece, it can be so obvious, certain aspects of myself that were coming through that I wasn't able to fully recognize or accept or allow to be present. And I'm finding myself at another time in my life, maybe like you, especially with so much really being put to the test of, really having to walk along this earth through this pandemic and take a seat right next to yourself, the kind of lights and mirrors that have been held up to all of us over the years. And I'm finding myself in a place of lots of known change and transition, but also lots of surprise, and finding parts of myself again being surprised of how much I had certain aspects or energies of myself trying to control, trying to protect, or I swear to God, keep it all together, which it's really funny, I think sometimes we can think of ourselves and it's so thinly veiled. Like, I think I feel like I'm a very capable person who can keep it all together. But at the same time, it's not just one thing. It's also, that means you have to keep it all together. And it's, it's a Rubik's Cube. Every positive, every blessing has a shadow side. And it's all kind of how you're twisting your lens on things. So it just feels like this is a time to think about my next personal myth. And if you are like me, you're a sensitive person, you've maybe you're a really good shapeshifter in life, and I understand, I get that. I understand that feeling like, well, I'm always kind of this person or that person, and I can be this and I can be that. But there is something, again, very freeing, and something just beyond explosively grand and just mythically great about writing your own personal myth. And writing it from a place that really frees you and opens you up to a deeper understanding. If writing is something that you enjoy, I strongly encourage you to just sit down and write a myth. Because whatever comes out, it's going to be sourced from you. And I think it will surprise you. I think if you think, it could be the greatest love story ever told. It could be you on a battlefield. But whatever it is, I'm almost guaranteed it's going to surprise you. It's going to have so many twists and turns if you just let a myth flow out. And like I said, even if you don't identify with the hero or the heroine or the person who's on this, makes this epic journey, the better. Because it's just time to see ourselves clearer, and it's time to see ourselves through new lenses. Because it's time. So, like I said, I've just reached that point where I'm noticing exactly how much I felt like I've had to keep it together, and where I used to use it as more of a badge of honor, I can see that there's weights on multiple sides to that. And even though I think of myself as a very creative person, and I've done such a myriad of different types of art and expressive, creative things. There is something in the art I do now, I channel it. But there is just a part of me that once I realize that that part of me that's kept things together has also kept out experimentation. And the freedom that I feel just even saying that word and knowing that's something that I can play in and live in as a creative person, as a courageous person, as a person with a voice, as a person who wants to use their voice and speak their truth, who wants to find out all the time what the hell that truth is and be amazed in all kinds of new ways, day by day, year by year, experience by experience. It's momentarily surprising and way more exciting and scary and back to exciting. And ultimately, I know it will be extremely freeing the more that I give myself permission to experiment. And whatever that means. And I know it can, the smallest, tiniest things, when you just go, maybe I'll try this one other way today. At least for someone like myself, a very sensitive person, just a very, very aware person, just very conscious and very psychic person. These small little changes in decision, or making one little, like even the way I dressed for this video was very out of the norm for me. But I felt influenced by certain things I've seen lately in different creative people. And I thought, yeah, I want to choose this. And it might seem like the littlest thing, but personally, I know that every different small tweak and choice that I make from the normal, and I just experiment a little bit, it's actually huge. It's huge because the impact on myself and my life and how I see myself and my next personal myth, I can't wait to meet that person. I really can't. So, yeah, I actually, this one pin that I'm wearing today, I found, when I relocated, and to me, this is kind of symbolic. I didn't realize when I put it on, but, symbolic of Hanna the Valkyrie, because this reminds me of a Valkyrie shield and her companion, the crow. I'm also looking for a new home for Hanna, looking to sell her in the Bay Area or relocate her to a group in the Bay Area. So if you have any interest in her, please contact me. The easiest way is on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram is best. But, yeah, I hope if this does interest you, to write your own personal myth. And if it sounds, and you're a little anxious about it, just kind of set yourself up for, just being in a certain mood or space, whether it's lighting a candle or sitting in a certain area of where you live or sitting outside, depending on, I know it's different climates everywhere. I've been holding a stromatolite stone this whole time, to kind of anchor me as I express myself in a different kind of video. So this is a stone. I pulled out a little card here, but it assists with past life meditation, emotional stress and healing. So it's a stone of transformation and assists in achieving higher levels of awakening. Changes out old programming to be open and receptive to new ideas and ways. So that's another thing. Just anchoring yourself with an intention, with a crystal, whatever it may be. But I just think it's such a powerful, transformative time. And I know so many sensitive people that look at the world through so many beautiful lenses, whether it's just in nature, internally, psychologically, psychospiritually, archetypally, through all the kinds of divine manifestations, gods, goddesses. I know I have, through all these and more. And if you haven't tried the personal myth, I think it's just something that could really blow your mind and lead to something beautiful. I know it has for me. I look forward to writing my next one and meeting that person and just meeting all of the truths from my voice. So be well, and if you have any interest in Hanna or any comments for thoughts about personal myths, please comment below. All right, be well.